From the Sinclair E.G.Os to the Zayin E.G.Os, we're starting off with Crow's Eye View. Crow's Eye View is a Zayin level E.G.O. Has an 18 base with a +6 roll, and does pierce damage with an attack weight of 1. On hit, inflict 2 attack power down. On hit, apply 3 haste to all allies next turn. And on hit, inflict 2 bind next turn. This is really good. Really good for a base E.G.O. And the passive of this E.G.O, Silence, when hit by attack, gain 3 bind next turn and deal 20% extra damage when attacking a type or affinity that the target is weak or fatal to, once per turn. This E.G.O costs 10 sanity and 1 wrath resource, followed by 3 sloth resources. So it's fairly cheap, as most base Zayin are, but spending 4 resources to gain 3 haste next turn, inflicting 2 bind next turn, and inflicting 2 attack power down, that is pretty worth it. But it also has a downside because you're becoming fatal to gloom and fatal to envy. You become endured to sloth. Now, for the drip, it's pretty standard, pretty run of the mill for bases. That it's not gonna be anything crazy, but it's alright, I suppose. It's not as bad as, say, Rhodion's, because at least this one has a little bit of change, but I'd say that's whopping like 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 feels right. Now the strength, you can roll a whopping 24, which is pretty alright. It's not terrible, it's pretty alright. But that's about as far as the strength category as he can go. No extra damages, nothing like that. So, for the strength of this E.G.O is relatively low, and only 1 attack weight, so I hate to say it, but this is probably going to be like a 3. A 3 is probably, yeah, 3 is probably good. Where the other 2 ratings have been pretty bad, this rating for the usefulness will actually be pretty good, because it's useful, it doesn't cost much sanity, it doesn't cost much resources, but it does give you a lot of haste, well, considerable amount, and inflicts bind to them too, and it's next turn bind and next turn haste, which is very good. Attack power down is also pretty useful, but the haste and bind are what really are good. So, just a cheap source of bind and haste and attack power down, that's pretty useful, all things considered. So, I'll put that at like 5.7. 5.7, it's pretty good. It's above middle of the road, but not by much, because you're getting a little bit of haste, inflicting a little bind and a little attack power down, but other than that, you're not doing too much more, which means I can't justify putting it very much higher. And your passive is also double bladed sword, so if it had a better passive, then I could rate it like a little higher, like 6 or maybe almost 7, but it doesn't. So 6.7 or 5.7 is probably going to be where she stands. But yeah, that's about all for this E.G.O. It's a base E.G.O, so it doesn't have a corrosion, and that's about it, really. I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.